Guys, Lancer here. Thanks again for joining me while we look at what the hell is going on with the reserve list again. Now, these are some of the cards that I'm trying to review, the ones that I was trying to filter, and I will say that I'm running or have run out of cards to make for my main series the way that I normally filter them. So let's get to it. So the first card on the list, Fear Grove. Now, I'm pretty sure I said this card was okay. I remember it being okay because I was going to put in some +1/+1 kind of decks, and just to see how it's going to work, kind of like a bank, it has to work with Doubling Season, Vorinclex, the new one. So there's reasons for a reserved list card that's got +1/+1 counters on it to spike in some ways just because of what's coming out recently. And you can see that there's actually quite a few that are coming out moderately played, but there's still some heavy manipulation going on for the higher end cards. And things like this, where you can sometimes like get a moderately played add to cart for 55 cents, and then you see another moderately played for like $4.25, and you're just wondering, how did this one even come back onto the market, like a heavily played for 44? And the crazy thing is that people are willing to part ways with a card that they've got at 10 cents or they've been holding on for ages. So getting into these kinds of reserve list cards at this time is actually still kind of risky because you never know what someone else is going to sell them at and what someone else is going to keep them at. So another one I want to look at, I think this card is terrible. It was the one that was talking about ante, which is the keep your cards if I win or something. And you can find some heavily played ones for less than $1 still. But the lightly played ones and the near mints are still trying to be manipulated so I can move the market up. One that I'm not 100% sure about is Blizzard. Now, you guys can let me the story and know the story of this one, but I'm pretty sure I've seen in the comment section that certain people were looking into getting cards like this or already positioned in cards like this. I mean, certainly it wasn't me making these videos that caused any kind of inflation in this market. Knock on wood, it was not me because I wasn't smart enough to take advantage of it. If I knew there was even a chance, but I don't think I could have been bothered because it just seemed so risky. Such a dangerous play. But for cards that are done bad, and then you get them, then you want to keep and play them, that's a different feeling. But if you invest in something like this and just hope to get a benefit out of, buying up the stock, then things might get tricky depending on who else comes back out with more of these on the bench. You might not be able to sell them for the same price you got them. They might sell for less. You don't know how many people are willing to pump this out in the future. So one of the big things is you have to be careful what you're going to walk yourself into. I've said this many times before, but right now the market is based on heavy greed, and people are looking for any short-term profits and flipping some things around wherever they can. So we'll have to see how it all goes, but I think that's probably the big thing to watch out for is the greedier people are, the more you have to watch out for any kind of schemes, any kind of drops in prices, any reason why people might sell at a much lower price. And another thing is I actually got a couple of cards. I got these cards a long time ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago for like what, 10, no, for $4. Yeah, no, sorry, 4 5. Yeah, dollar. Yeah, I got one of these. I didn't, like I said, I only buy one of each card that I feel like I need, because firstly, I don't want to speculate, and secondly, I feel like it gives you more. You had to be more confident about how you're going to build your commander decks. Pretty much, you had to decide which one of these one card is going to be good for that one deck, and you can't just buy four of each card and be like, yeah, all four of these commander decks, they have 20 of the same cards. No, pretty much most of my commander decks are very unique. There's only certain cards like lands, which there's even multiples of, and those are only the cheap lands. Most of the expensive stuff is one-offs. It makes it more. You had to put more imagination in to try to make the decks, I guess. It's hard to explain. But yeah, you look at this card, it spiked like crazy. I think this was some kind of weird meme. It spiked like crazy August 2020, and then it's going through another massive correction. Sorry, correction. another price correction where it's readjusting to a lot of the other previous cards, because this one I actually think is a decent card. Certainly was more decent before it became $16 for moderately played. I think mine's moderate. It's pretty rough. But yeah, like if you're gonna get one of these cards now, it feels pretty hard. It would feel pretty hard to get into these kinds of cards right now. Another one, Skeleton Ship. I didn't even think this was a decent card when I got it. I thought the only thing that was cool about it was a legend. I thought I can put it in a pirate's deck and have it like as a legendary pirate, black blue pirate. I thought that was kind of cool. The -1/-1 counters. There's a couple of gods and certain other cards that can use the -1/-1 counters, but they're not always in black and blue. It's usually red and black or something. But yeah, I was just going to do something funky with it, and I got it for like 50 cents or less. It didn't spike until pretty much it was $2 and less for a lot of its history, and then it just started spiking in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I think be careful out there, guys. Every other card that's also come up on this list, Lightning Cloud. I haven't seen this one before, but you get the idea. A lot of these cards are moving up, and they're all moving up at the same time. Now, once again, this is starting to get a bit scary. I myself have not been part of this wave, and I'm hoping that most of you guys that are watching aren't going to just follow the crowd and start buying cards at these $10 ranges, especially when just a couple of days ago they were ranging around about $4 or less. A card like this is actually not that bad, but you can go back to like it's just amazing about Blizzard, because I hope this guy makes a killing, but a couple of days ago it was 62 cents, and now it's trying to peak around about even if it peaks around about what, $2 to $5, that's still a huge gain starting at 66 cents just a couple of days ago. So yeah, I'm gonna be very interested to see where this market's gonna end up in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks even. Very, very impressive, some of these moves, and I'm not too sure where they're going to stop either. Because right now, I feel like a lot of people are just getting into them because they're reserve list cards, and they're not really seeing the fact that there's any downside risk. But what I would say is, and this is probably something that shouldn't really matter for most of the people in the Magic community, but currently there's a bit of a fight in the financial world between interest rates, the dollar, and the market in general, the market mindset. The interest rates are moving up for the 10-year treasury bonds. Hoping I said that right, but pretty much it means that it's a different way to make sure that you can make safe money over time that's separate from risky investments like stocks and collectibles and everything like that. The dollar is another thing to keep an eye on, where as the dollar gets stronger in general compared to other currencies that are actually being used, mainly the euro and maybe the yuan, but I'm pretty sure those are like 20% and maybe 3%. As European Union, the central banks around Europe and China decide to lower the value of their currency, the US dollar can become stronger and can also become stronger if some black swan event happens. Between all of those combinations, right now we're hitting a very, very intense period of the market where it can either go break up or break down, but there's the probability or the risk is far greater for it to break down. Now, this is obviously if you keep an eye on the dollar and the bonds. So keep an eye on those two. I know that this is probably weirdly financial advice for Magic stuff, but if the interest rate goes up in the market side, then Federal Reserve has to do one of two things. And if the dollar goes up, then the Federal Reserve has to do one of two things. Now, what they can do is they can buy more treasury bonds. I'm pretty sure that's the way it goes. They pretty much put a level on the interest rate and try to push it back down again. If they don't do that because they keep saying, interest rates aren't too bad, then interest rates will keep increasing, and that'll cause pressure on the financial markets. That includes collectibles as well. More importantly, if they decide to come in and buy more, then that'll reinflate the asset market. So it's really important what the Fed's doing for the Magic community, the collectibles, everything. Like, it's crazy how influential the central banks around the world are. But and I also know that this all of a sudden took a very dark turn. But I just want to bring that up as while all of these prices can keep going up and keep staying at the levels they are right now, and it's a safe bet if you can predict the future. It's just the future right now is very unpredictable. And with all of these high risk assets in such what would be overbought or greed levels, I'd recommend a bit of caution unless you actually want to make short term profits and just get out of the market. In and out is fine. I have no problems with someone that's in and out. It's the people that come in and say, I'm going to buy this, and then I'm going to put like my credit card, I'm going to mortgage my house. That's the problem. You know, if you're gambling with money you're willing to lose, I've learned this the hard way. Gambling with money you're willing to lose, then you're fine. Anyways, guys, I know this is another rambling video. Hopefully you had some fun. I just hope that this isn't just me causing some issues in the marketplaces, but I know that once again, it's not just ever one person. Actually, now I think about it, it could be one person. I've been given some numbers on how many cards like these actually exist, and yeah, you could probably have someone that's pretty well off manipulating this, you know, throw $20,000 at a card. As long as people are willing to buy it, I guess. That's the problem. It's the greater fool theory. So, you know, you want to take the risk with the greater fool, then just make sure that you're not the fool yourself. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining, and have a good one. See ya.